Well, we're back talking Captain America and the Secret Empire. When last we spoke on this, Cap appeared to have killed a civilian out in public, but it was all part of a nefarious plot. Let's get some more info on this plot, shall we? Hit the theme! Welcome to Kevin's commentary on comics. That's right, we have started the epic Captain America storyline that was eventually called The Secret Empire. No, it wasn't called that when these issues first appeared. You see, back in the day, they kind of just let the stories play out on their own and let the public decide if it's epic or not. Nowadays, something like this would be considered part of a special event, and they'd have a big huge banner across the top saying Secret Empire Part 2 of 5 or something like that. And it would probably have crossed over to 16 other comic book series. Times were much simpler back in the 70s, weren't they? Now, I won't say better because there are still good stories being written and drawn today, but I do prefer less hype and more quality, and that's what we get with this Secret Empire saga. So let's dive into what I would consider Chapter 2 of this story in Captain America and the Falcon number 170 from February 1974, J'accuse. It's written by Mike Frederick and drawn by Sal Buscema, with an awesome cover by Gil Kane and John Romita. So the events of last issue, on which I gave commentary in episode 99 of Kevin's commentary on comics, Captain America was being set up by Quentin Harderman. Now, first he put out a bunch of propaganda saying that Captain America doesn't represent American values, and when Cap confronted him about this, Harderman said he would rethink his position if Cap agreed to a charity boxing match. That match was supposed to be with John Robert Keene, who Cap knew as the Tumbler. And when Cap tried to take him in, Keene was assassinated by someone up in the ceiling of the convention center where the charity event was taking place. Are you up to date? Okay, so Harderman continues his subterfuge by publicly proclaiming that Cap has killed an innocent man and everyone just saw it. Cap, against his better judgment, decides to make a run for it, but as he gets to the street, he's already having second thoughts. Before he could get to his third thought, though, he is taken down by Moonstone. Who? Well, if you look close enough, you'll see that this guy looks a lot like the guy that was in the ceiling in the previous issue. So the two fight, and ultimately Moonstone does take down Cap, and we see in Moonstone's thoughts that yes, indeed, he was the one who shot the Tumbler. And of course, Harderman declares Moonstone the greatest hero of all and loves the fact that everyone is eating this up. Meanwhile, in Wakanda, the Black Panther is helping the Falcon come up with something that will give him a bit of a superhero edge. Falcon has his girlfriend Layla with him, who goes off while he and the Panther figure out what type of power boost they'll develop. Hint, hint, it's wings. Back to Cap, who wakes up in prison while a press conference is being held in front of his cell. So while the cameras flash, Moonstone tells the press his origin story, although he tells it a little bit differently than how it actually played out. He said he was just a janitor who found the Moonstone while cleaning up, but us readers see that he was actually robbing a university for the Moonstone when he got caught. Now, the Moonstone was smashed during his encounter with the police and merged into his hand, giving him incredible powers. He took the name Moonstone because, well, you know, that's where his powers came from. So just to pause a minute here, certainly, if he stole that Moonstone and is now giving this story to the press of how he found the Moonstone, wouldn't someone at that university who had the Moonstone know that something was up? I mean, even if he's being portrayed as a hero in the press, there's still a university somewhere that is short one Moonstone, a busted up lab, and cops who were apparently burned to ashes. Now, it just makes me think that these guys really didn't think this through when they decided to have this press conference. Also, as some more current readers may know or wonder, Moonstone is a female in today's comics, or at least in recent history. I don't know what, I'm assuming she's still female now, but whether she's prominent or not, I really don't know. It was Dr. Carla Softon, I believe, who got the rock from this dude and became Moonstone, then a member of the Thunderbolts, and there's a whole lot of history to her. I just didn't want you to wonder why this dude was a dude, not a dudette. Anywho, all of this framing of Cap goes back to when the Viper got this in motion with his advertising buddy Harderman. So I guess you could say this goes back to issue 163, but that was just kind of a setup. The real story is here. And speaking of stories, We now go back to the Falcon, who is seeing his girlfriend off so she can explore Lagos, Nigeria, because she's bored and the guys need to concentrate on this power boost stuff. So while she's checking out the local merchants, someone in a car overhears her accent, and this guy turns out to be Stoneface, a racketeer that the Falcon took down in issue number 134. My, what a small world. So he decides he wants someone who he knows, or at least someone from where he's from, and decides to just take Layla, and ends up killing the Wakandanonian guard who was supposed to be, well, guarding her. So they take off, and word does get back to the Black Panther and the Falcon, who is now equipped with his new wings. Time to give them a tryout. But before we see him take flight, however, Cap is being busted out of jail by his supporters? Who are these guys? Sure doesn't look like Cap knows who they are, but if he doesn't go with them, he'll never be able to expose Moonstone. What will he do? Well, I'm sure he'll do something, but it will be something that will have to wait until the next issue because this one is done. So I'm Kevin, and that was my commentary. I sure do love the build-up to this story. When I first read the Secret Empire saga or event, it's not an event, just a story. I actually started on issue 174, where they were already knee deep into it. So I obviously know what's going on as I read this issue, but it sure is nice to go back and see how this all played out. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. I love a long play story, and considering this whole thing actually started in one panel in issue 163, that makes this even better. And the fact that this is not some big comic event is much, much better. Again, I don't want to diss what is being created today, but with so much corporate oversight at Marvel and at DC as well, do they even have single comic book story arcs anymore? You know, one that's just isolated within one series? Seems like all the big ones are multi-series crossovers and ultimately lead to the rebooting of the entire universe. I know that's an oversimplification and probably way off base, but appearances are something, right? And that's certainly what it appears to be every time I see an ad for Marvel or DC. At some point, I do need to go jump back into my current reading of comics, which is Marvel exclusive because I hated the New 52, although it sounds like DC's doing Rebirth now. But I'm still, even with Marvel, a few years off. I think I stopped just before the latest Secret Wars event started, which may or may not be over. I really don't know. I just will have to someday get caught up on that. But as it is, I'm enjoying this storyline set firmly in the 1970s. And we'll see this one out before switching gears. So don't you worry. Find out if Cap decides to go with these guys busting him out of jail or not in my next episode, which you can see trouble-free if you subscribe to my channel. I'd love it also if you liked and shared this video because, hey, the more the merrier. So until next time, please go out and make it a great day, and I'll see ya.